Hello, fellow writers. I'm Lewis. That over there is Tolkien, and you have found the Scripturient Society. Ooh.
Ooh.
I want to make it sound like it's a little bit of a secret society. You know, you feel like
It
you
is
can't
a
tell your
secret
friends about
society.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Not because anything weird is going down, just because you want it to be all for you.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah,
You wanna
totally
share.
agree. Yes, as my Lewis over there, also Karissa mentioned, that is Lewis, the Lewis to my Tolkien, Karissa Harlow, and I am Ash O'Rourke. This is the Scripturient Society, a podcast by writers for writers. So welcome. You have found eternal glory.
Yes. I like that. That's good. If you're looking for some weird writers you can share stuff with, you're in the right place.
You are. If you're not, I think you're still in the right place.
You can stick
Congratulations.
around.
Fate has brought you this far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I was looking up C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien's first names,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm just picturing them walking across, was it Oxford? The Oxford campus?
I believe it was.
And some random person coming up like, John, because that's Tolkien's name. Like, hey, what's up? Who's your new friend? This is Clive. This is my friend Clive. And the other person being like, oh, is there like a middle name I could use? Staples. Would you like to call me Staples? Because it's Clive Staples Lewis. I'm like, what a weird name for someone whose last name is Lewis.
Clive Staples Lewis. I'm going to start calling you by your full nickname. Clive Staples Lewis. I really like that. I'm going to forget it immediately.
That's okay. It'll be out there when you're ready for it.
Yeah. Well, how's your day been?
My day's been good. Nothing particularly exciting. I did have a small story I wanted to share.
First, let me say that I love your earrings. They say book nerd.
Thank you. I'm glad you can see them. I was worried they would do that whole tilt thing.
No, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Oh, thanks. I was going to talk about this on the first episode, but then we just did the introduction.
Is this the red pen point that you mentioned?
No. Should I do the red pen point first?
Follow your heart. I think we're all just along for a ride. This is your show, really.
Yeah, that's right. I'll do the red pen point first. Okay. That's what we're going to use to refer to corrections or additions to things we said in previous episodes. Use you from TPBC. Did you right? You guys know what that means.
Yeah, if you're a TPBC listener, you are very familiar with rapapas because Kendall and I make many mistakes.
Yeah. So there was a point in the podcast, the first episode, that I already listened to twice.
Oh my God, yes.
And there's a point where I say, I had another thing to say here. And then I just kept going, but that wasn't what I meant to say. So what I really wanted
did that too. I did that in the last TPBC episode. I was like, yeah. And so I think I was telling a story about lemonade. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get distracted and you don't want to stop talking to think about it. So anyway, my red pen point about first chapters is that I think obviously we were saying that from an initial impression standpoint, first chapters are important. But as a reader, I've never given up reading after the first chapter.
Oh, I have.
So have you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've never done that except for once, but it was really more of a, this is too emotional for me. And then I came back to it later. So I don't know, maybe that does happen to people, but
I think it does. I would say for dedicated readers that happens. I don't think it's the norm. I think I'm probably out of the norm for that. I will stop. I will get halfway through a book and decide I don't like it enough to finish it.
Well, halfway, but first chapter, I feel
I'll
like
do that too. I'll put down a book at any point that I don't enjoy it anymore. Usually not because I have animosity in my heart, but because I have so many things to do that if it doesn't catch my attention, I usually end up putting it down and just never finishing it. And I will just, by the time I get back to reading, I'm like, oh, well, that one didn't grab my interest. So I probably won't pick it up again. But I'm probably out of the norm. I don't think Kendall would do that either. So
well, for those of you
what
that
I'm
are
saying with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Those of you that are like me, I think the earliest I've ever given up on a book is a quarter of the way through. Because I feel like that's enough time to see if you didn't like the first chapter or if you just didn't like the book at all.
Yeah.
So in terms of stressing over first chapter, I do think you have a little more room with readers than agents and other people would have you think.
This is very true. I also think if you like it, that says something, especially because that sounds so little, but as writers, we usually hate what we've written about a month after we've written it. So if you like it, trust yourself, and it's probably good. So if you don't like it, find someone to talk to work it out. But
because if you don't like it, it could be because it's bad or because you've just read it so many times that it's no longer new to you. So you have to figure out the difference between
which is where kind of bringing in like a second opinion can kind of help suss out, is this just me, or is this just my brain has gone over this like 1 million times now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that
what was your thing that wasn't a rapapa?
Okay, I have a story. So I'm in Arizona, which I mentioned last time, I think.
But you're gonna say I'm an Aries, and I was like, no, I'm an Aries.
No, I'm not an Aries. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm a Virgo. My birthday is coming up, so that's exciting.
I know. I have a birthday present for you. I'm very excited.
Yay. Anyway, so I'm in Arizona, and there are those insects that every 7 years or so they just emerge and then they disappear for 7 years again. Does that happen in other places? That happens here.
You're saying it sounds like you're describing a biblical plague of some sort.
Yeah. So there have been these beetles running around in Arizona.
Ew.
And they've been keeping to the shadows for the most part. Like you're not seeing them on a regular basis.
They've been keeping to the shadows.
You'll find them in like the corner of your garage or under a tree somewhere. They're just minding their own business,
What if they've been there for 7 years? It just takes you 7 years to notice them in the shadows.
It's possible, but I haven't noticed it. Not that I go outside a lot, but
Everyone else in Arizona is like, Karissa, those are everywhere.
I don't know. Yeah. If any of you are from Arizona, tell me if you've experienced this too. Anyway, about a week or two ago, all of these beetles just hit this expiration date and they all died like at the same time. As though
June bugs.
I know, as though Beetle Jesus had come back for them all at the same time. And so I went to pick up
beetle
pizza.
Rapture.
Yeah, I went to pick up pizza and they die on the sidewalk. They've been living in the shadows, but they're dying out in the open. And they went belly up and they have their legs up in the air.
Wait, hang on, go with me. The roach rapture.
There you go. Get some alliteration in there. I like it. So that's what this story is called, the roach rapture. Anyway, so they've been dying all over the sidewalk, and I went to pick up pizza, and I walk in, I'm excited about getting pizza, and so I'm not really paying attention to my surroundings.
My heart is starting to like pound for you. I can sense something bad about to happen.
So I get the pizza and I walk outside, and because I'm holding the pizza boxes, I have to look at my feet to make sure I'm not going to trip.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice that there's this gross beetle dead on the ground, and I just say, ugh, right? And then I keep looking and there's all of them. There are so many. And I'm like, oh, there's a second. Oh, there's a third. There's an eighth. There's a 17th. And they're all over scattered. And I'm saying to myself, okay, were they there when I got here and I didn't notice? Or did they all die in the 4 minutes I was in the pizza place?
Oh my God.
And both are equally likely. I don't know. Both are plausible options. So
no man will know the day or the hour.
I know. And I crept around them and got to my car, and it was just really creepy. And my dad had told me a couple of days before this that they were dying. Mm-hmm. And in my head, I was like, sure, whatever. But it is so much creepier in person. And I was like, and I'm like, did they just die as I was in there, or have they been like this? And I'm not observant.
Oh my God.
That was my roach rapture story. I just wanted to share that because it's very possible that I'm just not an observant person, but it's also possible there's something weird going on with the bugs.
What? Well, okay. To that effect, when I went to Florida this year for a mermaid retreat, mm-hmm. You can listen to TPPC for the full stories. I don't want to give all of my stories again. I don't want to repeat that for anyone who listens to both. But I came back and found 2 mysterious bug bites. And I was like, I've never seen a bug bite like this before. And I don't really get worried about things like that. So I was like, I'm sure it's fine. And then 3 weeks later, they were getting worse. And I was like, I don't know what kind of bug bite gets worse. And then I was like, I've been thinking it was a spider bite of some kind, because it definitely wasn't a mosquito bite. I've had plenty of those living in Texas to know. So I was like, I guess it's not a spider bite. I don't know. Cause I looked it up and it didn't look like any spider bites at all. The only thing it looked like was a tick bite. And I had literally just told my sister, because my sister actually has Lyme disease. She got from getting bit by a tick when she was a kid. And she was like, you have to be careful. It could be a tick bite. Go to the doctor. And I was like, it's not a tick bite. And then the only bite that looked remotely similar was a tick bite. And like all the symptoms, like it was like pretty like red, like a red circle around it and like pretty hot, not a red ring. Nobody panic. Because the bullseye means you probably do have something.
Oh, I was going to say, what does that mean? Is that like bad disease slang?
Hey guys, if you've been in a place where you might have gotten a tick bite and you see like a bullseye rash around it later, just go see a doctor. Just
go get it checked out.
But anyways, I didn't have that. I did have a big red like patch around it though, which is still weird, especially 3 weeks later. So I went to see a doctor because I was like, I'm sure it's fine, but just in case, could you just like check it out? And she was like, she didn't even look for like a second. She was like, it's a mosquito bite. I was like, why don't I feel taken seriously?
What's your degree of certainty on that?
She came off so certain, but then before I left, she said, and that mosquito bite or whatever it is should be gone by January. I was like, it is September, ma'am. Apparently there's just a really, really bad bite. She was saying, this is what she said, something about the bugs this year. I don't know. We had a guy go to the hospital for a spider bite and somebody else's arm just came in all swollen up from a mosquito bite. So you're right about there being a bug this year. That could be true. However, the bites I got, not mosquito bites. So I don't know what they are. And even she didn't. She even, right as I'm leaving, said the thing about those mosquito bites or whatever they are. And I was like, you straight up said that was a mosquito bite. And so here's the thing is that I don't know what it is. Doctors in Texas, it was actually really hard when my sister was a kid to get somebody to take her symptoms seriously, because basically they were like, she's just sleeping a lot and she already liked to take naps. But like if it's extreme fatigue is a sign of Lyme disease. It's like a symptom of it or whatever. And so we finally found a doctor because they were all saying, we don't have Lyme disease in Texas. PSA, yes, we do. What?
Anywhere you have ticks.
Yeah. And plus I was in Florida. Florida's got everything that can kill you. And I told the doctor that too. And she just did not give like one iota of care. And I was like, it's weird because I never go to the doctor. But every time, never go to the doctor, obviously is facetious. I probably go once a year, maybe twice,
as little as possible.
As little as possible. I am never in the doctor's office. So it's weird to me that every time I have to go for something, they treat me like I'm a hypochondriac who's in there all the time. Like they always are like, it's nothing. And I'm like, if it was nothing, I would not be here. Trust me.
I avoid you at all costs.
Yeah. I'm like, even if it was something, I wouldn't be here. I don't come to the doctor if I really, really don't have to.
Right.
So yeah. Anyways, so that I think you're right. There's got to be something with the bugs, be them ticks or mosquitoes or strange rapture beetles.
Yep, I agree. Sounds about right.
My cat just meow. Yep. Welcome into the room, Flora. You're gonna want to go back out in just a second. She's already turning around to go back out. No.
It's like, no, this isn't what I thought. I thought Dad was in here.
That's exactly what she thought. I'm in for those of you watching on YouTube, I have changed my setting for this recording session. I am in our guest room / our game room. Javi's got like a big PC game set up. And I've got my pretty like book tapestry thing on the door behind me. So it looks as if I have a bookshelf here and like I am very fancy. I'm not.
That's very
nice. If it looked more authentic, I would look fancy. It looks like I hung a sheet on the door.
So it looks accurate is what you're saying. It looks like what it is.
It looks like what it is. But the idea was that it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But it does. Yeah.
I am also in a new setup.
Karissa's setup looks perfect. It looks like exactly like what a podcast host who talks about writing their background should look like.
Excited. I found the perfect angle. So over here to my left, is like this moon tapestry. It's pretty cool.
So pretty.
It's right over
Yours
my
is
desk.
all like laid flat on the wall like it's supposed to.
Well, there's no door handle in the way, which I feel is your problem.
It is the problem, 100%.
And then over here on my right, I have partial bookshelves. So
nice. So like pretty. Your bookshelves are amazing. I only have one set, like one bookshelf. Like it's like to the ceiling in the living room, but it's just the one and it's totally overflowing. There's books stacked on the entertainment center now. They're on the floor. They're everywhere. So
I kind of like that look though. I think it looks like you just ran out of space because you read so much.
That's exactly.
It's like, did you ever read Inkheart?
No, but I know a lot about it.
Okay, so like the aunt in that book has a library, but still she has so many books that they're everywhere, and I just love that.
Love that vibe. Yeah, I have a single bookshelf and then no space, so it's not quite as impressive. But like Javi, when you came to visit me, you brought me more books, and Javi was like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Shut up, t-shirt guy."
Yeah. You have your t-shirts. I have my books. Mine are productive.
Exactly. I'm like, you don't even like, it's so weird. He goes through like phases, and for like 2 weeks, he'll wear the same 3 shirts over and over again. And then he never wears those again. But he never gets rid of them either. Right. It's so weird. And I'm just hoping eventually the t-shirts that I like of his, I'll eventually get, because I've gotten some of his old favorite t-shirts. So
there you go.
Yeah. He got one, it's got a picture of Natsu from Fairy Tale, the anime, if anyone watches it, on it. And I'm like, I want that one. I can't wait for it to like shrink in the dryer, or for him to forget about it and start wearing something else.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, right. So what's our word of the week?
I'm excited about this one, and I'm worried I'm going to butcher its pronunciation. But I think I've got it. Okay, so our word of the week is...
We're going to judge you 100%.
Okay, that's all right. I'm prepared. Okay. Cacoethes.
What?
Cacoethes.
Bless you.
It's spelled Cacoethes, and it means an irresistible desire or urge to do something inadvisable.
Oh, so like my whole approach to life.
Yeah. I thought it was fitting for this episode, but also I just want to read you the first sentence that comes up on Google if you Google it.
Cacoethes.
Cacoethes.
When you say it, it sounds pretty. When I said, I'm like, cacoethes.
It sounds like cackle. So this is the sentence that comes up. The serial killer was unable to control his desire to maim. He had a cacoethes for hurting innocent people. I'm like, why is that the first sentence?
That is horrifying. Well, that's terrifying.
So I'll just drop what the theme of the episode is. So today we are talking about the differences between bad boys in literature and psychopaths.
Ooh la la,
so I thought that was
Ash's episode.
Yeah. Ash loves a bad boy.
I do. And Katherine is a psychopath.
Yep. There you go.
Yep.
So I thought
Katherine,
that was
her alter ego, for anyone who doesn't do the thing where they start from the first episode. If you're starting from here, Katherine is Carissa's alter ego.
Yes.
And she is a psychopath.
Yep. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the word of the week. Try to incorporate that in your vocabulary.
Caco sneezy? What was it?
Cacoethes.
Cacoethes. I cannot say it in a way that sounds pretty. Pick an Italian word sometime, or a Russian word. I got you.
Okay.
Cacoethes.
In like an accent. I can't do any accents.
It sounds like I'm doing like a Boston accent. Like, where are my khakis? I'm like, cacoethes.
My cacoethes.
Has anyone seen my cacoethes? Everyone from Boston is like, oof, we hate it.
Like, oh. Tuning out.
That's so funny.
All right.
Yeah, any other exciting life updates you want to share from this week? We just recorded 2 days ago, so
yeah,
not much time has passed.
It is Wednesday. Since Monday, what has happened to me? Nothing.
Nothing. My boss finally, and my other job finally, is letting me take a crack at social media. So
nice.
Not that I really enjoy social media, but I've been telling him since I started. I was like, I could help out with y'all social, because it kind of needs some work. So I was like, I can help. And he was like, we're too busy for that. And I was like, I'm not.
We have important things to do. What about me?
And I was like, this feels like an important thing. So anyways, I'm proud of myself that I have been entrusted with this thing, but I'm also like, a very like loud part of my brain is like, why on earth did you fight for another thing to do? Like that, it's that obsessive need to be productive all the time. So like, if I'm ever like kind of between projects or waiting for like another employee to send me some material that I need, I'll just like, instead of just sitting there and being like, take a breath, relax, reheat my coffee, because I can never finish a cup of coffee in one sitting. Instead, I'm like, give me something else to do, even though I won't have time to finish this one before going back to my other project. Right. Oh, I'm exhausting. God.
You are. I'm exhausted just listening to you.
I know. I don't know how people put up with me. And like for like a while, my mom was like, I don't know, she had this weird energy around me, I guess, right after I got out of college. And I was like, why do you seem like nervous, Mom? And she's like, you're always doing things all the time. And it makes me feel guilty for not doing things. And I was like,
so
what?
high energy.
Yeah. I don't expect anybody to be as productive as I am, because I don't want to be this productive. And I'm not using productive as a good thing right now.
Right.
I mean, it's not probably productive for my mental health or emotional health. So I need to cool it. I need to cool my jets.
Cool it, Ash.
Yeah.
All right. So one more thing. Do we have any spoiler warnings? Are we gonna accidentally spoil anything? Okay, I do too.
We'll probably spoil. I'm pretty sure we're gonna spoil every book we talk about to some degree, because we're talking about romance and stuff. So for me, I will be giving spoilers for sure to probably Clockwork Angel, Ruin and Rising, A Court of Thorns and Roses, Serpent and Dove, and Six of Crows. Right, although nice. And any other book that I suddenly decide to talk about.
Right. I'm going to try my very best not to spoil too much about any of these, because I want Ash to read them.
You're so much more considerate than I am.
Yeah. So light spoilers, at least, for the Fablehaven original series, Fablehaven sequel series, Sisters Grimm series, Caraval, and Alice in Zombieland.
You tried to make me read that one before.
Yeah. So at least light spoilers on the romantic aspects.
You've read all of these ones that I said, right?
I think so. I believe so. I didn't hear any books that are on my to be read shelf, so it's fine if you spoil me for a couple.
Okay. Excellent. You're so much sweeter than I am. Why am I always the mean one? Kendall's nicer than me too.
I don't know.
I'm having an obnoxious day. I can hear myself, and I sound very obnoxious today. I'm doing. You
sound the same to me.
Do I? Is this what I sound like every day?
Mostly kidding, but you don't sound obnoxious to me, so you're good.
I'm good.
Oh, also, I have another one, Burning Glass. I'm also probably going to spoil a little bit, by Katherine Purdy.
Sweet. Sounds good to me. Right. Any recommendations or books that people should read this week?
The one that's coming to mind is I'm a big fan of Brandon Sanderson. So if anyone has heard of the Steelheart series, this will probably come up a few times. I'm not a big superhero fan, but I am. Yeah. Opposites attract.
Yeah, they do. Wink.
I
had to narrate it for our listeners. Wink back at me, please.
No.
She's
one day.
She hoards the wink power, so it's really powerful when she does. I just want to wink.
Well,
can't get my husband to wink at me either. What is this about? Listeners, could you send me a wink?
She's starved for winks.
I'm wink starved.
I'm winkless.
Winkless. Somebody just give me a wink. Share the winks.
What was I saying?
Share the wink wealth. I don't know. I just really wanted to say that.
No, I like that. All of those are quote worthy. Totally lost my train of thought.
I am so sorry. I did that to you.
It's okay. I guess I'll start by saying this is my
recommendations.
Book recommendations. Yes. Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. It's a superhero series. This, and I didn't read this recently, but the Renegade series by Marissa Meyer. If you guys like superhero books.
I've heard of that one. I've had that one recommended to me a few times.
Renegades is epic. Steelheart is pretty good. It's not my favorite Brandon Sanderson, but it's solid. So check those out if you guys like those.
Nice.
That kind of genre.
Update on the book recommendation I gave in the last episode. The because TPBC is doing My Lovely Wife this week. Let me tell you, so far not finished yet, but the book is very good in that it's very well written. But I would not read it at 2 a.m. like I am. Like I had to do.
Scary?
It's alarming. It's crime suspense, and there are serial killers. So I did not know any of that. I knew it was suspense. I didn't know like girls were going to be dying and stuff. And you get like an insight into the killer's mind, which I wasn't emotionally prepared for. I've been running on very little. I've not been sleeping well. And then surprise, surprise, I had nightmares after going to sleep for reading that at 2 a.m. So I'm like, yeah, that checks out. Anyways, don't recommend it as a late night read, that it's very well written. So there's my update.
Criminal Minds.
Yeah, you would probably really like it. Yeah.
I've been Marianne, Lexi, and I all tried to get you to watch Criminal Minds, and I don't think you ever did.
It's too intense. I never did. I can't do it. I like the concept, and I do listen to like some crime podcasts, but like I can't listen to too many, or when Hobby's not home, because for reference for everybody, my husband's in the Army, so he's gone quite a bit. TPBC listeners probably know that because I've talked about it before. So anyways, I bring that up quite a bit. So for reference, it's probably just helpful to know. Yeah. I guess I just bemoan my sadness. No, actually, I'm pretty independent, as is he. So not that it's ever fun when he's away, but we're okay with it. It's fine.
It's manageable.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. It's manageable. It's not the best. It's not the worst. So yeah. But so I don't listen to true crimey stuff when he's not here. And he was working nights. So I read My Lovely Wife at night by myself. And I was like, oh, this was a really bad idea.
You're like, Ravi, when are you getting home?
Exactly. And I'm doing it again tonight. He got back at 6 a.m, but he brought me donuts. So yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah, 100%. Nightmares in exchange for donuts. To make that trade every night.
Absolutely.
So our theme for this week, we mentioned briefly, is bad boys versus psychopaths. I assume we're going to discuss where the line is.
Yeah.
In probably liking them and writing them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will just say, so the ones that I'm going to talk about, you'll notice, I think I am a person of extremes in many ways.
You are.
So I mean, there are days where I will not eat anything, and then days when I'm eating constantly.
Yeah.
There are, if I'm writing, I am writing all the time, and then I'll go weeks without it.
Yeah.
I will go weeks socializing and then months without it.
Yes, you will.
Yeah. So I'm a person of extremes. And so I've noticed my personal tastes when reading books is I am either all in for the good guy or all in for the psychopath. I don't go middle ground bad boy.
That is so funny. I am a middle ground bad boy. That's where I live.
Yep. I know it.
And a little bit of the psychopath, which I don't want. Nobody wants that. But
do they? I think they do.
Well, we shouldn't. It's not healthy, but the attraction is there. The all good goody boys are not my thing. But that is Kendall's thing. Now, I don't want to hear any boy listeners say girls never like a nice guy. That's not what we're talking about. And that's also not true at all. So that's a different thing entirely. And should I go on my soapbox about that or not?
Is it going to be long?
I'll try. I can try and make it short. Okay, here's my belief on this. So just when we talk about like good boys versus bad boys, just know that this is the frame of reference with which I'm going into it. And this is what I firmly believe. I think nice guys are great, but nobody is going to date someone just because they're a nice guy. You date them because they're nice and you connect on, you have this in common or that in common. You like the way they think or you like the way they act about this thing. So being nice is great, but it's not a prerequisite to make somebody date you.
It's bare minimum.
It's the bare minimum. So saying nice guys never win, first of all, makes you sound like a jackass. Whether you might be a nice guy who just feels like you never win, and that's valid feeling. And I'm sorry you feel that way. It's a real feeling.
It happens to girls too.
Yeah, it happens to girls too a lot. Nobody talks about that. No one ever says good girls never win, but we feel that same feeling.
Yeah.
We just don't say it because it's not a saying. It's not a saying at all.
People don't feel sympathetic for us.
Wow, it's true. I didn't mean to throw shade, but I accidentally did because that's just the way it is. So that's true that nice people in general tend to get walked over and overlooked. That's just true. My mom is the sweetest woman in the world. People constantly take advantage of her. It sucks. It's because our world is broken and that's the way it is. But saying nice guys never win in regard to a girl not dating you or liking you, that's completely invalid because being nice isn't a reason for someone to date you,
Absolutely.
So anyways, this is how I feel about good guys versus bad guys. I don't think good guys are boring. That's not why I don't like them. Just the bad boy. I kind of have a bad boy attitude. I don't know. I kind of have a chaos attitude. Yeah. I've got the Cacoethes.
Cacoethes.
I've got the Cacoethes. So I like
it. Sounds like a disease when you say it that way.
I have a bad case of the Cacoethes.
I heard she came down with Cacoethes.
She was born with it, actually. It might be genetic. So I think it's just a personality thing. My co-host Kendall likes the guys who are just good, sweet, genuine, pure. I also like good, sweet, genuine. To be honest, I don't think you should like someone or try to date someone who you don't truly believe is a good person at heart.
Deep down,
But
even if they have an attitude, fine, whatever, but deep down.
That's really more what we mean. We don't mean like good person versus bad person morally. It's more the way they present themselves to the world. So when we say we like a good guy character or a bad guy character, we're not saying we like the morally good character or the morally bad character. We're saying we like the one that comes across as, you know, kind of pure, wholesome, or we like the one that comes across as like kind of a like attitude, kind of like chip on the shoulder.
Harder to figure out.
Yeah. And there's flaws that come with both of those stereotypes. Absolutely. Even the good guy one. And there's pros. So it's just a preference thing it's really just an attitude preference. It's not a good guys never win. And it's also not a God, I love a bad guy who likes to do crime and hurt people. That's not the thing either. So anyways, I don't know if that gives any helpful insight. Yeah. But if it has never been explained, if anyone's ever been confused about this whole good guys versus bad guy thing, that's my take on it. I think that that's actually probably most people's take on it if they think about it, but we just don't tend to talk about it that way. So
yeah. I will also say too, if you think about the whole nice guys finish last thing, in love triangles, the nice guy almost always wins.
He does.
In books. It's almost always the nice guy.
The key is to be nice because it's who you are, to be unconditional. Don't be nice to get something. That's when you're not actually a nice guy. And I will say this, I don't think a couple times I've heard like genuinely nice dude friends of mine say nice guys never win. And that drives me crazy because I know they're a nice person, but the way that they're saying it makes it sound like, well, I'm being nice and I'm not getting anything out of it. And you're like, well, it's not nice if you're doing it to get something. Right.
You do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you get something.
Yeah. So guys and girls, but guys tend to say it because it's not really a saying for girls. It makes you look mean. Okay. It just does. It makes you look like you're trying to get something just for being a good just a decent person.
Yep. So, bare minimum.
Bare minimum. So let's all just stop saying that. Yes. We could all say good girls never win too. That's not the point. If you want to talk about it, you can say, I feel taken advantage of because I'm nicer than other people are. That's a valid thing across the board. So
yeah, I don't think it's gender specific.
I don't think it's gender specific either. It's just that nice guys never win. And I'm like, ooh, I've had it said to me just one too many times to put up with it anymore.
This is a big pet peeve of hers.
That's why I was like, I have to get on my soapbox at least once because I do love the bad boy characters, but I don't want people to think it's, like for any, like, I don't know. I just don't like that. I don't like the good guy characters or that the good guy characters are boring or not as likable. That's not true at all. It's just not I married someone who very much has attitude. Like it's what I'm attracted to personality wise. Kendall would never marry somebody like that. I don't know that Karissa would either. No. So I
like Javi, but I could never live with someone like that.
I know. So we all have our things. So just look for the person who suits you and you suit them and be nice to each other unconditionally. And there we go. So
all right, cool. Having that out of the way, now we can talk about the difference between a bad boy and a psychopath.
Yeah, now that we discussed the difference between a good guy and a bad guy, which was
do you know what bad boy means?
Well, now we know what we mean when we refer to bad guy. We're not saying morally bad. We're saying attitude.
Okay, so this is my list of things that I think qualify as a bad boy that aren't necessarily psychopathic. And you're probably gonna disagree with me on one, but we'll get to that. Ooh. So the first one is sleeps around, which I think is a bad boy behavior type of thing.
It is a bad boy behavior.
Yeah. Like you said, has attitude. Slash emotionally distant.
Yeah. Emotionally either undeveloped or has a really hard time communicating their emotions.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'll disagree with both of these. Is a murderer, but not because they like it. You know what I mean? But like more of a like I'm in the army or I had to save someone.
And you mean is willing to kill? Is willing to kill?
Yes. Maybe that's
I agree.
Yeah. And then the fourth one is crime, especially lower level crime like theft, or not that you should steal, but you're not, committing terrible crimes.
We are not condoning any illegal or violent bad boy behavior.
Do not use this as your excuse when you get arrested.
Nope. And what we are discussing today, disclaimer, we are talking about fictional characters in fictional worlds. Yes. Just because like hot bad boy in Serpent and Dove, or he's not really a bad boy, he's kind of the opposite. Like just because Will Herondale would shove you up against the wall and make out with you does not mean a girl in real life is going to like that, she'll probably call the cops on you.
Exactly.
So this is all in the realm of fiction.
Yes. So anyway, I think those are just the 4 things that you're not necessarily a psychopath, but it gives you an edge. It gives you that kind of edge. So, then if you go far in any of those same directions, like, uses girls or commits crime just for the sake of it, not for any specific need, or kills for fun, I think that's when you get into.
I agree. I think also enjoying the bad things, enjoying doing bad things. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There's a difference between being scarred by things and enjoying them.
And there's a difference between doing what you think. I think this is a big difference. There's a difference between doing what you think you have to do to take care of the people you love and doing bad things because you feel entitled to do them.
Right.
So I think that's a big difference. It doesn't mean that the things the bad boy characters do are justified. Bad boy characters often do things that are very much not justified. Looking at you, the Darkling. But I think he's got a bit of psychopath in him too. He wavers. I think he started out bad boy and turned psychopath. So there's that too. The thing is, a lot of bad boys are like potential psychopaths in the making, and psychopaths are sometimes bad boys who went too far. I don't know.
That's why the line is so thin.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it could just be one or the other, but I do think like some of them slip back and forth, and that's when it's really hard. Like I for sure think that I think Reeson did it because he started out kind of psychopathy and then went to bad boy all of a sudden, and the Darkling did it. I think he started out the other way. Exactly. So
yeah, I agree. So one of my examples is the Burning Glass trilogy by Catherine Purdy. So there is a love triangle in this one, and it is, I don't even know if I want to call the guy that I like a bad boy. He's on the emotionally distant spectrum. So there's that. And then the other guy that's in the love triangle is straight up psychopath. And it's essentially the struggle is that the main character doesn't know which one to pick because they look so similar on the outside.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think,
which one is this? What book is this?
Burning Glass.
Burning Glass. Okay.
And it takes place in like ancient Russia, and it's really good.
Paruski. I love that.
And I've forgotten both their names because it's been a while since I read them, but
okay. They're Russian names. They're probably impronounceable.
Yeah,
sorry.
Probably. And they're both, I guess, are they princes in Russia? They weren't called czars or
I don't know. Whatever they were called.
Yeah, the prince level. And they're both on that level. And one uses it to, he looks like he's following orders and doing all these wrong things, but he's secretly doing good things. And so that's where his bad boy persona comes from, because he's specifically trying to come across that way so he doesn't get in trouble for breaking the rules.
Yeah.
And then the other guy is the one making the rules and specifically trying to create those bad situations. And so I think sometimes it comes down to motivation. I don't think good motivation justifies bad things, but I think that is the difference between a psychopath and a bad boy.
I totally agree. And motivation can help you forgive something, you know. Right. It's motivation, like your reasons for doing something or your past trauma is never an excuse to do bad things, but it can be an explanation, and explanations help us empathize. So
yeah. And your motivation is probably not going to change significantly, but if you were shown you're wrong, your actions to achieve that motivation can change.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's very true. And I think that's the thing too. Bad boys are capable of change and they're willing to change. Psychopaths are not.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yep. So the bad boys that I have examples for, I've got Will Herondale from Clockwork Angel. I would say on the like 1 to 10 on, he's a bad boy. No psychopath, I don't think at all. I think 1 to 10 on the bad boy spectrum, maybe a 6. He's not a hardcore bad boy, but he might be like one of the top 5 hottest fictional characters.
It's true. And he has that whole motivation thing going where he has this secret reason for things.
Exactly. And when I say hot, I also want to preface this and feel like I've never prefaced this on TVBC, but I probably should. I call guy characters hot a lot. And I realized recently it sounds like I'm calling them like I'm talking about their looks. I'm not. I'm talking about their attitude. Yeah, I'm talking about finding them attractive. Like Will Herondale, we only get a few details about his physical appearance here and there. So we don't even really know what he looks like. It's not that I have this idea of the super hot looking dude in my head. actually don't even like know what that would be. I don't have like a particular type of hot person. I don't.
Isn't it so hard to picture hot?
It is.
I can't even picture it.
It's a personality. And this is the thing,
Yeah.
like Javi can like, he'd be like, this is hot and that's hot. And so I wonder if it's partly a guy thing. Cause like girls tend to be like, that personality or that attitude is attractive. And guys tend to be like, she looks attractive. I think it's like just like a difference in the way like the first things that we notice about each other tends to be. And this is as a generality. I'm not saying for everybody, but so when I say someone's hot, like Will Herondella is super hot, I'm saying attitude, super hot. And then I've got the Shadow and Bone series, which the Darkling. Hi, the Darkling.
See the Darkling.
See the Darkling. He is on a scale of, okay, so he's on both scales, right? He's on the bad boy scale. I'm gonna say he's like a 9. Yeah. And then on the psychopath scale, he's like by Ruin and Rising, he's probably like an 8 or 9 on the psychopath scale. But I think he's not, the whole time we know him, he's like maybe a 2.
Right. At Shadow and Bone point, there's the potential for change. Yeah. And then he just goes full psychopath.
I think that's where the change happens, is when a bad boy is no longer willing to change for any reason.
Yes.
And then it's now we have a psychopath.
Right. So yeah. How willing is your character to change? Yeah. If the answer is somewhat willing, bad boy. If the answer is not at all, psychopath.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So what are their motivations? Do they think they're helping? That's the thing too, is the Darkling, we still believe, or I think we're supposed to still believe that he thinks he's helping for a while. And then at the end, it's just like, nah, you just want power. Right. It always comes down to that. I think psychopaths are often characterized by a feeling of entitlement to power. So if your character gets mad that they don't have the power they feel belongs to them, we're leaning very strong psychopath. Yeah. Yeah. So A Court of Thorns and Roses, Tamlin, what do we think about Tamlin? Because he starts out as not even a bad boy. That's a weird one. He starts out a goody good boy. And then in the second book, he kind of turns psychopathy. Yeah. Well, and Rhys also goes from psychopath to bad boy. Yeah. And how much of the opinion is based on comparison? Because next to Rysand, that's what I call him. Rhysand, whatever. Rhysand. I don't know. I have literally no idea. Yeah. Next to him, I think Tamlin's a good guy, even in book 2. Really? That's I haven't read it, so I can't say anything for real about book 2. Yeah. I think people would disagree with me on that, but that's my opinion. Because again, Tamlin's motives are just so scarred as opposed to intentional. Yeah. But on his own, Tamlin is somewhat of a bad boy. Is he? I think so. I don't know. I thought I found him. I mean, he's a high fae and he's like emotionally distant and has that attitude. But that's true. He is a good mix. He's like he's very middle ground. He's not a goody goody, really. I shouldn't have said that because it's not true. Yeah. But I don't think he's low ball. Yeah. He's on the bad boy scale. Tamlin is like to me, I think he's like a 2, maybe a 2.5. And then Rhysand 9. I mean, 10. I don't know. I think bad boy, I would only give him like a 7 or 8. But but when he first joins the story, he's acting like a true psychopath. And I'm like, I would have given him like an 8 or a 9 on the psychopath. So I don't know. I think that could be writing. I think that could be inconsistency in the writing more than the characters. So, hey, you guys, whatever we pick, what do you pick for your characters? Just please be consistent because it's confusing. That's like my life's mantra now. I just want some consistency. If you're gonna take a stand on something, just be consistent about it. Yeah. If your character's gonna go through a big personality change, you are gonna have to do so much building up to that if you're gonna do a full 180, like happened with Rhysand. If otherwise, I don't recommend the full 180 personality, also because it kind of feels like you've tricked your readers because they got to know one character and now they have to know a different one. So unless they are taken on every single stage of that character's development in depth, it's just going to be hard to pull off. And on the recent thing, I think he enjoys what he does in book 1 when he's like mocking Tamlin. And that's why I would call him a psychopath. He seemed to be having a really good time when he's mocking Tamlin. Yeah. And then I meant to say this on the TPBC episode that we did, and I forgot, I think, that there are people can change for sure. But I do think that sometimes there are things you do to other people that they are not the one that owes you a relationship later. So to explain, I think Rhysand does too many bad things to Feyre. I don't think she should ever
want him romantically, even if he redeems himself.
Uh-huh.
And the point is, okay, now he's on our side. I
Mhm.
still don't think that it's justified from her perspective, because
You're
I think it's too
also
much.
That's true. But you're also a very absolute personality, like you
It's
said.
true.
Like you tend to be
Yes.
extremes. I feel like you're what is it? There's a Darcy quote for you here. What is it? My good opinion once lost is lost forever. That's you.
Yes.
Like yeah, I've heard your thoughts on like a couple things about life that I'm like, wow, you're very much like, is it done? It's done. Never going back. Like if you cross
That's
me,
true.
you've crossed me. There's no redemption.
Well, there's forgiveness, but there's not going back to the way it was before.
Yeah, exactly. There's a forgiveness,
So,
but there's no return to the way it was before the transgression for you, which is fine. That's just your personality thing. I don't know if there ever is like a full return to the way things were before, like a deep hurt has been like done against you. But I think for some people, it's not as apt. For me, I think I'm willing to, as long if somebody hurts me, but then they make up for it and they continually show that they have changed and they're redeeming themselves, then that can get back into my good graces. Like, I think, but,
right.
I think that's just a personality thing.
Yeah. I think that's a difference in your preferences in fiction and in real life, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Also
have, Kaz Brecker from Six of Crows.
Yes. What is he?
Kaz is, he is a bad boy. He's a number 10 on the bad boy scale.
Yes.
I don't believe that he's a psychopath because nothing he does is motivated by an entitlement to power or a joy in hurting people or even a joy in breaking the law. I made like a TikTok that was a joke about like Kaz Brecker enjoying killing people, but it was just a joke. I don't actually think that Kaz enjoys killing people. I think he's willing to do whatever to avenge his brother.
Yeah.
So,
but I think there are certain lines that you cross though when your initial motivation is understandable and good, that you can then do terrible things in the name of it.
Yeah.
So I think in Six of Crows, when we first meet him, I think he's a little on the psychopath scale. And then I think as you see his relationship with the other ones develop, the other crows, and he kind of gets to know them a little better, and he goes through I actually just listened to the episode about this, so it's fresh in my mind, when he's like in the cart and people are touching him and he can't stand it, where people have seen his weaknesses, and I just think that softens him a little bit to come back to more of the bad
I guess
boy
you could say that he starts out on the psychopath scale as
Yeah.
far as we see him, and then he kind of comes back down to the bad boy scale. So I guess you can go backwards, but it is uncommon. Kaz Brecker is like the only protagonist I can think of who is the protagonist who has such villain energy.
Yes. That's why we love him, is it not?
It is why we love him. I had such a crush on him when I first read that book.
I love it. I loved Matthias.
Matthias, yeah.
I know. I just feel like I love his story and the way that he comes around. And so I'm just like, that's my guy.
Matthias is so funny because he has a bad boy attitude, but he has such a good boy.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah, he's such a good boy. It's kind of like he's pretty similar to the romantic lead in Serpent and Dove, the guy. God, what's his name?
Is it Reed?
Reed? Yeah, I think it's Reed.
I don't know. Sure. I haven't read it.
I think it is Reed. I love Serpent and Dove, by the way, everybody. So I think I said that in the last episode too. Apparently I really liked that book. I need to read it again.
It was recent. So
yeah. Reed is got kind of Matthias energy where he's like, kind of like very like stiff, upright. I have my morals, I have my standards, but kind of has this edge of bad boy attitude. And when it comes down to it, would break the rules to take care of the person that he loves. So I had him on my bad boy list, even though he's not really a bad boy. Like I think him and Matthias both would get like a 1 on the bad boy list.
They think they are, but are they?
Yeah, it's more like they think that they're kind of bad boys, and you're like, oh, sweetie. But again, maybe I like them too, though, because it is an attitude thing. Because I totally had a crush on both of them too. So yeah. So those are all my bad boy characters.
Okay. So like I said, I'm the extreme. So the 2 psychopaths that I want to talk about, I think it's interesting. They're from middle grade series instead of young adult. And I wonder if that's because they're softened because they're middle grade.
Middle grade goes hard with psychopaths.
It goes hard. It goes really hard. So I'm not going to give the name of the one in Fablehaven. If you guys have read it, you know who I'm talking about. There's a traitor at some point and you find out that the whole time he was a traitor. It's not like he turned partway through.
Yeah.
And I
was thinking like Luke and Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
He's Psychopath. He's not a
Mhm.
bad boy. He's never been a bad boy.
It's
Annabeth
true.
kind of thought he was a bad boy at the beginning, but
Right.
no, he's a
No.
psychopath.
The whole time. There was
Yeah.
never a change. It was
No.
always that way.
Yeah.
So that's what this character is in Fablehaven. And he turns. And I'm still like, I still love you. I still want you. I can't turn it off at this point. So I just went all in. And I knew it was never going to happen. You never get the main character going for the psychopath in middle grade. So
they ever go for the psychopath in YANA?
I mean,
never
Darkling kind of.
Yeah, but she doesn't end up with him.
Right.
She didn't.
I think it's always it's a maybe, but
yeah,
in this one it was
the psychopaths never win though.
Right, it's true. But in middle grade, it's never even an option. It's never given to them as an option. It's just, you've betrayed me. We are done. Yeah. And in my heart, I'm like, no, give him a chance. He could change.
I know. I remember feeling that way between Annabeth and Luke and the Percy Jack. So bad. I was like, but Annabeth, he wants to change. Except the thing is, he never wants to change. He wants her to change, to join him, just like the Darkling did with Alina. So still psychopath, still bad. But you see where he started as this hurt little child. But still doesn't excuse anything. But the whole time I was just like, part of me so badly wanted Annabeth to be like, I can change you. Right. Even though that's not how it works. And nobody should be in the business of changing people.
It's not healthy. Don't do that. But you want it in the books.
I'm curious. Is this a thing? Like, do guys feel that way about like girls who have like issues, instability in life? Because I know for a fact that a lot of girls I know that I'm friends with like are attracted to that and have that instinct to I could fix you, I can take care of you. I have that instinct and I'm kind of mean and I still am like, I'll take care of you. I can fix you. And not that I'm trying to fix my husband because I was already aware of that tendency before I met him, but like it's a thing like with a lot of girls. And I think that's why we're kind of attracted to the broken, which means like bad boys and psychopaths. That's why we'll still fall in love with a psychopath is because we see their brokenness and we want to fix it. We want to take care of them. Is that a thing guys experience too? Like, I want to know. I've never heard a guy talk about it. Maybe they secretly do.
Yeah. They just don't want us to know about it.
They don't want us to know. Oh, that's funny.
All right. So then anyway, the second psychopath in the Fablehaven sequel series, I will name him because he starts off right
Name
off
those
the bat.
names.
Yeah. His name is Ronadin, which is a super cool name. And I also love him. He just, what?
Give me his name one more time. What was it?
Ronadin.
Ronadin?
Yeah.
I was thinking Ronald McDonagh.
Okay, well, that's less cool.
Oh, God. Continue.
So he does some pretty terrible things, but I just love his attitude so much. It's if you could go bad boy, if you could join the good guys, you would be the best character. And I'm still holding out hope. There's one more book. Maybe he'll change, but I doubt it.
Change. Always the hope that they'll change.
Yes.
That's so funny.
And then my other middle grade example is from the Sisters Grimm series, which I love. I was obsessed with as a child.
You talk about that series all the time still.
I love it. I still am obsessed with it a little bit. And Puck, who is the main bad boy character. I love him. He's so great. And he's a bad boy in the sense that he's a prankster. And
it's a cute bad boy.
Yeah. But he has this attitude of, I don't care about anyone. I'm just here for the free food. But he's there.
Same. Yeah. Oh no, I'm Puck.
But deep down he loves them. And there's this
maybe
scene.
I'm not Puck.
Yeah, maybe not. There's this scene where he's had this attitude the whole time, like, I don't care about this family, whatever. And then they're in danger and he comes in and he's like, fine, you guys are in danger too many times. I will be the hero and I will save you. And it's just so great. And I love it. So
that's cute.
And so I think his bad boy is more of an act than anything. So what else? I had Caraval for, I wish I had looked up the names because there are
I don't remember.
men.
It's been so long since I read Caraval.
So there's in the second one, there's the guy that's actually one of the gods comes out of the card. He's the something of hearts. And I really liked him. Every time he came into a scene, I was like, yes, stay forever. I know you're going to kill everyone, but please stay.
But to kill me last.
Yeah. And then the guy in the second one is definitely a bad boy, whose name I can't remember. And spoiler, he is Legend. Is that the name of the guy that is putting Caraval on? Anyway, he's the secret mastermind, and I think he's great. And he has that whole secret motive thing going on. I don't think he enjoys hurting people. He just likes the games and the not pranks, but the the magic and the misdirect and all of that. And so I think he's more bad boy than
the
Psychopath.
illusion.
Yeah. I think that was everything. Oh, and then Zombieland was one I was talking about. Alice in Zombieland, not the movie.
I was like, oh, I love that movie.
And this one is by Gina Showalter, and she has a type. All of her main love interests are tall and dark-haired and tattooed, and they have an attitude. And so that's essentially the guy in Zombieland, and he's very protective of the people he cares about, but has this exterior of I don't care about anything. And so I just think that's very bad boy.
That is very bad boy.
Yeah. I think that's the difference. So I guess the question is, do you write bad boys or do you write psychopaths / good guys?
Me personally?
Yes.
Bad boys. I write bad boys. I've never written a psychopath, I don't think. I know I probably should because they're extremely intriguing. I almost feel like it's going to be slightly traumatic to write a psychopath, but I was thinking this book I'm writing now, I was thinking, should I introduce, like, I don't usually do a love triangle because it's just, it's too much drama for me. My brain is like, I don't like that, but they are popular. Not that we should only write to trends, but we should be aware of them. They're popular and I like to read them. So I'm like, why can't I write one? And I think the dude is a bad boy because they're all bad boys. It's going to be hard for me to ever write a book where the male love interest is not kind of a bad boy, Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I ever could. I'm sure I can. I just don't want to, so I'm not gonna.
I mean, why fix what's not broken?
Yeah, exactly. But I think I was strongly debating just yesterday putting a psychopath in there for like the third part of the love triangle. But that's so tricky too because I don't like that falling in love with the bad guy just because he's a bad guy, and that tends to happen with psychopaths more than with like the good at heart bad boys. So. Yeah. Plus, I already made my bad boy character pretty unlikable. Like, he's not like, oh, he's hot, he's got bad boy energy. Like, no, he comes off as a real dick at first. Like, you're like,
are any characters in this book likable?
Not yet. See, this is the problem. But maybe this is the key. Maybe I introduce a psychopath that everybody loves because my main characters are not likable.
So let's go full psychopath.
Why not? Might as well.
So something I wanted to discuss / talk about myself because I have an answer is
excellent.
What is the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath? So this is where Kaz Brecker comes in because I think he is a sociopath, because I think the difference is a psychopath is someone who enjoys pain and wants to inflict it, and a sociopath is someone who doesn't necessarily want to, but they're willing to get what they want. And
maybe
that's the difference I always have in my head, because they both end up hurting people. But one, like if you were kidnapped by a sociopath, you could just give them a better option and they'd probably stop hurting you, but a psychopath's not going to stop.
That's true. I think that is true, that psychopaths, I mean, and neither of us are psychologists, obviously.
True.
So
I should preface with that.
Yeah. So we're not talking about like clinical definitions of these, but like the way that we tend to use them in conversation about book characters. Psychopath, I would say they do enjoy being bad. They enjoy doing the wrong thing. I also think that they tend to be very much more externally emotional, like prone to like hysterics kind of if they don't get what
when
they
don't
want.
Get their way.
Yeah, exactly. Prone to like really big fits and things. I think sociopaths actually think that they do feel just as deeply as psychopaths. I think they just process it internally. So that's the thing with Kaz Brecker too, because I was going to say, well, we don't really see enough about like when he kills someone or hurts someone, we never get the chance to see his internal reaction to it really. So I don't know if we could say that about him, but that is true of sociopaths, is that they have all the feelings, but they just process them internally. But I don't think that they enjoy the pain too. They're just willing to do it. I do think there can be with sociopaths a little bit of a broken moral compass, like anything, the ends justify the means for them. Like it's not even a question of do the ends they're just like, yes, they do. Absolutely.
Right.
So
Psychopath doesn't really care.
yeah, they don't even care. They're threw the compass out the window a long time. They just don't give a shit.
Like,
at
what
all.
compass?
What compass? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of the difference.
Okay. Because I find I also tend to write bad boys, which is strange considering that I do not read bad boys and like them. But I think part of the reason is because I'm probably in the minority about this, but I don't like having crushes on my main love interest because they're for my main character. And so if I go bad boy, then I can't want to steal them from her.
You are so much less arrogant than me in the sense that your characters aren't always largely you, like as much as they are with me. I feel like I can't write a main character that's not she's me of some iteration or other. Like me, if I'd gone down this path or that path or, whatever. And like usually whatever the character's dealing with is some deep internal flaw I'm dealing with at the time that I'm writing it.
Right.
So
I do that in the side characters.
Yeah, I've noticed that when you're writing. You're definitely there in the side characters, like more prominently than you appear in the main character, which is probably why you don't, feel the need to write a love interest for them that you fall in love with yourself.
Right.
Because my main characters are like so me. I end up always making the bad boy,
right?
Or at least somebody with like a lot of attitude. If they're not, I think I've probably written a few that aren't really hardcore bad. They're probably like a 1 or 2 on the bad boy scale. Right. I haven't written those in a long time though.
Yeah, because I think thinking about my main love interest for the, again, one series I have written, the same one. He's bad boy in the sense of attitude and somewhat crime. Right? Like the lower level crimes and the willingness to kill if he feels it's justified.
Yeah.
Whereas as a parallel, not necessarily on purpose, but the main character has a brother that she's very close to. And he's definitely the good guy type where he's like, I don't want to hurt anyone ever.
Yeah.
And that creates some conflict and everything. So
yeah.
I think I don't really know where I was going with that. It's just a parallel between why I would appreciate a bad boy as the more central character, just because, and again, like you said, not that good guys aren't interesting, but it adds a different kind of conflict.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true. Also, it's fiction. So you can have a bad boy attitude act way more bad boy-y in a book than in real life. Like in real life, it's not necessarily attractive when you know someone who's into crime. You're like, I'm concerned that you haven't thought this through and there's a lot of consequences. And crime in real life often means you've put your needs above somebody else's. It's not often that we get like a Jean Valjean crime. Like I stole to feed my family, right?
Exactly.
Not that it doesn't happen, but in fiction, when there's a bad boy character, it's almost always some kind of motivation like that. True. In real life, the motivations for crime tend to be much more selfish, I would say. So I think that's the thing too, why bad boys are so popular in books, but like red flag in real life for the most part, because what a character would do in a book does not translate to what they would do in the real world.
They're usually pushed to more extremes in books.
Yeah, they're pushed to real life extremes so you can understand it more. No matter how bad somebody's life has been, someone's trauma has been in real life, it doesn't ever excuse hurting somebody else to get what you want. It can help us understand it and empathize and maybe forgive in some situations more, but it's not the same as it is in a book. And the motivations don't tend to be quite as pure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep, it's true. So guys, do watch out for the bad boys in real life. As I've talked about how much I love bad boys and I got a husband with an attitude. Do not pick somebody for their bad attitude. You need to know that they're a good person and that they have commitments to morals, and you guys have some of the same moral values in real life. Just a public service announcement.
PSA. Don't marry psychopaths.
Yeah, don't boys. Yep, exactly. If you like somebody for their attitude, just make sure they also have all of the good guy stuff too.
Right. Attitude on the surface, bad boy on the surface, and good guy deep down.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So for writing bad boy characters and psychopaths,
I think those 4 traits, I think you pick a couple that I talked about, and again, give some kind of motive there. You know what really bugs me? I'm going to go on a soapbox again.
Oh, good. I feel better now because I went on mine. I feel like a couple times. I like never quite fully got down off it.
I think yours might be more popular, but we'll see. I do not approve in general of sleeping around. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah.
And when bad boys in books do it, it always feels like they're given some quote unquote motivation, but it never seems good enough to me. It's always like, oh, well, I read it once. What's it called? Not Beautiful Minds, Beautiful something. And the main character is talking to the love interest guy, and he's always sleeping around. And she says something like, well, what if you had a daughter? Like, would you want her to be treated this way? And he's like, oh, no daughter of mine will ever date anyone like me. And I'm like, that should be a red flag for you and your own behavior.
It should absolutely be a red flag. I think whatever you believe, if you wouldn't want somebody that you care about to be treated the way you're treating people, don't do it. Right. Girls and guys alike, don't. And not even just for sleeping around, for anything in life. If you wouldn't treat people the way you want to be treated, if you wouldn't want yourself, or you wouldn't want someone that you care about and you want to protect, you wouldn't want them to be treated the way you're treating someone, don't treat someone like that.
Yeah. This is again where the consistency comes in. Like, okay, if you're going to be like that, fine, but don't try to justify it with, it's okay when I do it, but not when other people do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true.
I hate that.
I hate that too. It's the thing that I just said recently on TPBC. I said something about misogyny. TikTok is an interesting place to find yourself occasionally. It just sometimes videos pop up and you're like, hi, misogyny. I didn't know we were going to interact today. This is nice. It's that.
How did you show up here?
How did you show up? It's that thing of it's becoming less of a thing. I feel like as girls are coining phrases like man whore, which is also not nice, but there's becoming another side of it too. But the thing of she's such a slut, she sleeps around with everybody, but then when a guy does it, it's kudos to him. It's weird.
Or the person that you have slept with and then saying, oh, she's such a slut. It's like, were you not involved in this process?
That's exactly. Yeah. So that's what I was saying on TVBC, because I saw this video. This guy was like referring to like some slut or whatever that he'd been with. And I was like, I don't understand how.
Weren't you there?
Was it? This took two people, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm confused. So like, I can't tell anybody else what to believe, you know. Everyone has their own experiences and their reasons for believing what they believe. I think keep an open mind, be aware, don't believe what the masses tell you to believe just because the masses tell you to believe it. Like really think about what you think practically, looking at yourself and your life and then emotionally for you, you know, like just think it through from all the angles and don't hold somebody else to your standards. So, and don't call names and definitely don't call the kettle black. Like, especially with stuff like that. I'm tired of hearing it. Apparently I'm like a kind of angsty today. I'm tired of hearing like girls being bashed for things that guys do by the guy who just did that exact same thing. Right. Like if you want to bash it, fine, free, you're free to do that, but like bash all of it.
Yeah. That's
if you want to promote it, fine. That's absolutely your option. Promote all of it. Like
don't gender it.
Yeah, it's weird. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, listen, here's where it all started. Slight sidetrack. I've been emailing this guy at work and I can't remember if I've mentioned this on this podcast or TPBC. So stop me if I already have.
I haven't heard of it. So
okay,
keep going.
Good. So there's this contractor we've been working with. He's helping with us with some ads and I've been in charge of communicating with him. And every time I send him an email, I get an email back that just seems like, to me, openly rude. But it's hard because it's writing, so you never know. You're like, well,
some people are just bad writers.
Yeah, some people are just bad writers, or they just don't like care about, being polite over email. Like they just don't think about it. And I think men in general, I keep saying men in general. Men, I love men. I'm not trying to bash you at all. I just think
the men that are like this.
The men that are like this. Yeah, I think in general, women are taught to communicate with a lot of like extra flowery consideration and stuff in our language. That's just how we're taught to communicate. I think that guys' attitude, I think, guys are tough, guys don't have feelings, which is bad, by the way. Guys should absolutely be allowed to express their feelings in their language or however they want. But I think that upbringing on both sides has kind of led to this culture where women send emails that are like at work. I've seen a lot of memes about this, so I know it's not just me. Women send emails that are like very like considerate, exclamation point, thank you, comma, have a good day, how's your day going, hope you're having a good day. It's just like nice things. And then guys will be like, here's the file you asked for, period. And like no hello, no goodbye. And you're just like, well, it's effective.
Yeah. It didn't take you a lot of time. I can see.
It's effective. And some women email like that too. It's not my style. I'm like, it just feels mean to me, but I'm also kind of paranoid. So across the board, I don't really like it. But anyways, this guy was emailing me like that. And I was like, I'm already like, it just kind of grates on me when people email like that. But I thought it's probably just the way this guy emails. Then he emailed my boss and copied me on it. Totally different voice. He emailed my boss. He sounded respectful. He sounded kind. He used full sentences and punctuation. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
And yes, my name is Ash, which is also a guy's name, but we had just had a video call. So he definitely knows I'm a woman by the time I'm emailing him. So basically, he definitely knows I'm a woman. I don't know if that's why he emailed me like that or I just said something he didn't like, but ooh. It's so frustrating.
If nothing else, it gives the appearance. Like it could just be that it's a boss versus coworker type of thing, but it gives the appearance of that.
Yeah, and I'm more sensitive to it now. After last year, I was a copy editor for I guess technically I still am freelance. I would probably still take a couple jobs if they were thrown my way, but I was pretty consistently doing freelance copy editing work. And there was this like 3 months where I just kept getting male clients who were like, we don't have to listen to you. And I was like, I'm so confused. And the reason they were saying that was because they'd written some female characters that were like the most offensive stereotypes of women ever. Yeah. And I was like, I would change this and this about it. And like, didn't try to make it like an issue because I was just like assuming they probably don't know how it's coming across. They're like, like they're not bad dudes. I don't assume when a guy says something misogynistic that they're a bad dude. I assume they probably don't know how it sounds.
Yeah, they might be unaware.
Yeah, they might just be unaware. Yeah, and since I was literally being paid to edit, they're hired to tell them how their writing sounded. When I was like, what you've written here isn't realistic for XYZ, I recommend XYZ to fix it. Wow, the backlash I got. And it says not every male client. It's just like there was this, ever since then, I've been like kind of like really on edge because I was just like 3 clients in a row. And I was like, my God. And then an apartment locator who was like, didn't have to listen to me and kept being like, really glad you got your husband's approval to come look at apartments, said that to me twice.
Many times. Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I'm sorry. So that's where if I sound like I have a chip on my shoulder, I do. I'm trying to get rid of it. I don't want to be a hater. And men are great. Men are hysterical. I love them. All of Javi's friends are dudes, and I love all of them. They're such good guys. Really such good guys. God, I'm so happy for him that he has friends like that.
I'm so glad he has friends.
Yeah, but like really good friends. It's nice.
Yeah.
So no man hate. Just
do you want to hear my theory about this?
I would love to hear your theory about this.
I think most men are pretty great.
Yeah.
But the ones that are not great are just spread out so much. They interact with so many people that it looks like there are more of them than there are.
I agree.
So if you have an interaction, you're like, yeah, this guy is so annoying. And then 80 other people have the same experience. It's because it's the same guy. It's not that it's 80 different guys. It's the same guy, like just spreading around his awfulness.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think it's a combination of that. And then the thing is, guys and girls are raised differently. True. So I think a lot of it's just like they're not aware until they're made aware. Some of them that like when you say this or do that, it comes across as this or that, right. And it's not what they were like raised to do or not do, So yeah, I think part of it's that. I think for the most part, guys are good people. Guys, no man or woman is like inherently better or worse than the other. We are all morally on the same level. There's none of that. But yeah, I feel like just with the bad boy psychopath topic, it does come up quite a bit because I think what it is you get into this like misogyny versus attractive cockiness. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's why it's kind of on my mind too, because I'm thinking about bad boys and psychopaths. And listen, my husband is the most cocky man I have ever met in my life. But I am also excessively arrogant as a person, which is partly a joke and partly, I think, true. So
you two fit together well.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So him or I with somebody else who wasn't also really cocky might not be like the healthiest relationship.
Right.
Like, I really thought I'd be alone for my whole life, and not like in a, oh, forever alone thing, like in a, I'm pretty happy by myself. And I have very high standards and weird standards, and I'm just very arrogant. So there was just like, you know,
you're like, there's probably not someone out there that can put up with this.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And I was so happy on my own. And then I just like, you know, met Javi, which was such a blessing. And he's got that same like cockiness, which is what we like about, this is what a lot of what we like about bad boy characters is that cocky attitude.
Yeah. However, I like the attractive cockiness.
Exactly. The attractive cockiness. But in real life, you have to be careful because attractive cockiness can sometimes come from a place that feels misogynistic, which is, that's where it's tricky because I mean, I'm going to always write bad boys and psychopaths. I don't want to stop doing that. I like
because there's nothing wrong with them.
There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with cocky arrogance either. You just want to know where it's coming from. I would say never assume in real life or in a book that you know where somebody's arrogance is coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And so I guess to come full circle on my point about the sleeping around thing, it's people have reasons for what they do. And I think sometimes authors skip the backstory and the reasons and they just say, oh, it's different with this person.
Yeah.
But it's not. You still have to be able to explain it. And if there's not a good motivation or explanation behind it, it's probably not a bad boy thing. It's probably a red flag.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I think, that probably could be its own thing. Bad boys. What's a bad boy thing versus a red, like, or a red flag thing? Could almost be a whole episode on itself, but that's true. I think like psychopaths have red flags and bad boys have traumatic backstories.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. And while traumatic backstories can become red flags, depending on how the character handles them, they're not inherently red flags. Like,
because they can be changed.
Yeah, because they can be changed.
The history, but their attitude about it, they can recover.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like you can have two people who have the same traumatic backstory, and then they turn into, just based on the choices they make for how to deal with it, turn into totally different people. And so that's true of people in real life. That's true of book characters. With bad boys, I think, like Karissa said, like if you're trying to write a bad boy or a psychopath, like think about the characteristics that Karissa mentioned of both, but then make sure whether it's a bad boy or a psychopath that you know their motivations. You don't have to exposize whatever it is. You don't have to like,
we'll make that a word.
Yeah, exposize. We're making it a word. I know there's actually a word for that. I just don't remember what it is right now. We don't have to
we'll Shakespeare that. We'll make it a word.
Yeah, we don't have to exposize all of that character's motivation, but you as the writer need to know, because then if there's ever a point in the book where there's an opportunity to bring up a little bit of that history or even just to imply it in some way or another, that's going to go a lot farther in developing the bad boyness or the psychopathicness of that character, which is important to define. And I would say, please don't write characters that fall in love with psychopaths and then everything's happily ever after.
Yeah.
That feels like not that I've ever read that. I just feel like that's a temptation. And I feel like that's kind of dangerous. I feel like it's kind of irresponsible. Do write whatever you want. Absolutely. I'm not telling you, I shouldn't say don't. I'm not telling you not to, but be aware, because depending on your readers, like I would say for young adult middle grade, having a character fall in love with a psychopath and then there be no repercussions is kind of dangerous, because then
they already don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. They're still developing and like they're still getting a lot of who they are from their books, and they don't, they're not old enough to know that much about real life and red flags yet, hopefully. So anyways, I feel like it can kind of confuse things. Right. So, just be cautious.
I don't know if this is a direct difference between bad boys and psychopaths, but on the bad boy front, you want them to have depth. And sometimes it feels like authors will skip the depth on the love interest because they're hot.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, I gave him bad boy hotness, so he doesn't need to be deep. No, he does.
He does.
And I would say that transfers to real life. Absolutely. You like a bad boy? Why do you like him? Is it because he's a bad boy? Or what are the actual reasons? Never date someone just because they're a bad boy. Never date someone just because they're a nice guy. What are your reasons? You need to have reasons. Your characters need to have reasons for liking who they like or who they're attracted to. Even if your character's attracted to a psychopath, do give them some reasons. Although it should be apparent to the character and to the readers that those reasons aren't good enough for a psychopath.
Or on the flip side, if you're going to have a psychopath, your main character should also be a psychopath. and maybe that's why they get along well.
Ooh, I
Food
like
for thought,
it. Food for thought. Somebody write a romance between two psychopaths.
Yeah.
Not to give spoilers, but I'm kind of convinced that might be actually what My Lovely Wife is, that book I'm reading now.
Oh,
It
all
very
right.
much might be that. I don't know.
That's
One
your
might be a
guess?
psychopath and one might be a sociopath. It's a very, what is that? Sid
Yeah,
and
or
Nancy, is
that.
that the right reference? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that also works. If your main character is a sociopathic kind of person where they're just willing to do whatever it takes, maybe they do go for the psychopath because they can help them achieve that goal.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Man, this is such a complicated topic. And I feel like I only had negative things to say, which is so weird. I'm just like, I haven't slept in days. I'm going to put it down to that. I'm sorry.
I thought there was going to be almost nothing to say about this. I don't remember which one of us came up with this as a category. Was it you? Was it me? I don't remember.
I think it was you.
It's possible. And looking through it this week, I was like, man, we're not going to have anything to say about this. And clearly we did. So
yeah, we did. It's like we were like an hour and 20 minutes. Remember when I said this was going to be a shorter podcast?
I know. So sorry, guys. Maybe we'll either try to be shorter or we will be clearer on the length.
Yeah. Yep. Or we will try to edit this down some. You never know. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys for putting up with all of my soapboxiness. There was a lot of it this episode.
Me too. And probably in the future, at least.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of soapboxiness all around, because isn't that what we're all doing with our own writing? It's just our own platform to like express what we think and what we believe with no shame or judgment, or we're not trying to convince anyone, but we don't have to like hide it or pull any punches, which is nice.
We want it out there. We want our opinions out there.
We all want to hear our thoughts and opinions heard and respected. And I think writing fiction is a great way to do that, because people are already open to hearing what you're saying.
Yeah. And then the people that agree with you can feel less alone. Yeah. You know, there are certain books you read and you say, oh man, I've always felt this way, but it felt like no one else agreed. And now you know that someone does.
And the ones that you disagree with, well,
food for thought.
Food for thought. Yeah. Those are still some good books. I mean, I don't think either of us loved The Court of Thorns and Roses.
Right.
But I mean, I liked parts of it. I still enjoyed parts of it. I liked Resend at the end of the book. If he had only been that level of bad, because I like a bad boy.
I don't forgive, so I'm off his train forever.
I know. I had a really hard time reconciling that because he seemed like a total 180 within like a few chapters for no explanation.
Right.
But I did like him at the end a lot.
Yeah, because Ash loves a bad boy.
I do. I mean, we talk about how Katherine loves a psycho, but it's true. I guess that is your Katherine side. That's why you like the psychopath.
I was gonna say I had it written down. My first comment was, wait, what is it? Oh yeah. So bad boy versus psychopath. My quote was, "I'm not a big fan of either. Katherine is enough for me."
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Katherine is enough for me.
If Katherine were the main character of a story, she would need another psychopath in her love interest fields. Is that a phrase?
Yeah. In her love interest field.
In her field of love vision. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so what about what are you writing this week? What are your weekly writing updates for us? It's only been 2 days. Yeah. Have you written anything in the last 2 days? Have you thought about writing anything?
Yes. I don't know if I want to talk about it a lot because I think it might go better in the next episode, but there is something that is not my normal series that I've kind of been toying with as a general, what is it called? Like your magnum opus, is that a thing?
Uh-huh.
Kind of that type of thing that I've been working on just kind of steadily. It's not done or anything, but just adding some more detail, reading through it, getting familiar with it again, because obviously I love the series I'm working on. Otherwise it wouldn't have been going on for this long, but every once in a while I just need a break from it to get my head clear. And so that's kind of what I was doing. So yeah, not much, but what about you?
This week I've just basically been because it's only been 2 days since we last talked, so we've been getting all the pod stuff set up. I don't know if anyone here has done a podcast before, but listeners, let me tell you, the first couple weeks are such a rush to try and get everything in order. So we're still kind of in the early phase of rushing to get stuff done. So I haven't actually gotten to write in the last 2 days, but I've been like writing down notes as I remember them for like things I want to remember to do or not do in this book. Actually, I have some notes about the bad boy thing. I think I did write something down about adding a third love triangle. So like not a third love triangle, a third person to make a love triangle. Yeah. Yeah. So, but do I make them, hang on. Okay. What do we think about this? Do I make them a psychopath externally and internally, or Do I make them seem really sweet and good and helpful, but be a psychopath on the inside?
Oh gosh, I love the second one.
You like that one? Okay,
Yes,
maybe
I do.
I'll do that, because then we've got that juxtaposition between my male main character, who is outwardly a dick, but inside.
But inside.
Yeah.
See, I like the difference between what you appear to be versus what you actually are. I think that's always an interesting debate.
I like that. I might have done that with another book that I wrote also. Maybe I do have a love triangle in another book. I did this. I've done this before. I've been here before. I recognize that tree.
This seems familiar. I recognize that tree.
Oh God. Should I do it anyways? Can I do that in multiple books? Okay.
I think so.
All right, I'm gonna do it. I mean, listen, nobody stopped Colleen Hook, and she did it in all of her series. She did it in The Tiger's Curse. She did it in The Awakened. She did it in that, what is it? The Ember's Lantern something or other one. Yeah, something like that. I
haven't heard of that one. Is it another mythology one?
No, it is different in that sense. It's like a steampunk Halloween-y book, and I like the aesthetic, but I did not finish reading it, which that one was weird. I got 3/4 of the way through it and I was like, I'm done with this. I just did not enjoy it like I wanted to. But no shade at Colleen Hook. Tiger's Curse has been and is still one of my favorite series. So and the Awakened series is fun too. Like they're enjoyable reads. So no shade. I like her a lot. I just didn't like that one book, which was weird. I think I had really high expectations. So
that happens. We know, well, you guys might not, but Ash does, that I love Alexandra Bracken. He's one of my favorites. And I recently read Lore, which is her most recent book, and I just wasn't feeling it. I'm like, I love you, but this wasn't my favorite.
A lot of people recommend that one too. That's what Sarah J. Maas. I loved Throne of Glass, loved it. And then A Court of Thorns and Roses, I did not love. So yeah, anything
it just depends.
It goes to show. I mean, yeah. So just because somebody doesn't like one of the books you've written doesn't mean someone else won't. Yeah. Never give up. Have I been really negative this episode? I'm really sorry, everybody.
I don't think so.
Oh, good.
I mean, I felt good about it.
Good. You're very absolute though too. I still have that for someone who's really cocky. I have that but I don't want to accidentally misspeak or have somebody interpret me incorrectly.
That will always happen though.
Yeah, that's true. But I did the thing where I said men and women, and people get so mad when you do that. And I'm like, but I'm talking about generalities, and I don't believe one is better than the other in any way. So anyways, if you've gotten to this point of the episode, I hope that clarified it for you. If you didn't already rage stop.
I hate these people.
God, I hate this. God. Yeah, those are all mine. Okay. Oh, Javi just texted me. You're my favorite person in the universe. Nay, all the dimensions. He never says nay. See, the sweetest thing of all that was nay, that's cute. Good.
See, this is what a bad boy is like when they are not a psychopath.
It's true. But the fact that I just shared that with you on a public podcast is notable because Javi's not outwardly like that. He's got this he's always mean mugging is what they call it.
Mean mugging?
Mean mugging. That's
I like
what Javi
that.
and his friends call it. Looking for men, they call it mean mugging. For girls, they call it resting bitch face. It's the same thing. Yeah. Right. So he's mean mugging all the time, pretty much. And except when we're alone, and then he's such a little goof. He wears his Pikachu onesie and says stuff like nay. And that's the kind of bad boy you want, ladies.
There you go.
I think it's okay as long as it doesn't matter how it does matter how he treats you in public. He shouldn't treat you badly, but it doesn't matter how you guys look as a couple in public. Like my mom thinks that Javi and I aren't nice enough to each other because we're very sarcastic and teasy. We're not ever mean to each other. Never be mean. That's not a good idea. But yeah,
they fake fight.
Yeah, we fake fight a lot. We fake fight a lot for fun. Yeah, but then behind closed doors, it's always everything is great and he's very sweet.
Would you ever base a character off him, or is that too weird?
I do. I already have.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, okay, and I've done this before. I have said oh my God, I based this character off this person. What I mean by that is I took some key characteristics I either found interesting or really liked about a person, and I put them in a character. So I did take a lot of Javi characteristics for the male character in the book I'm writing now. I've never done it before. This is the first character that I've really that I'm putting a lot of him into. One character in the book I'm trying to self-publish right now, there's a little bit of Javiness in it, a little bit, but not like really based on. This one is more so based on, just because Javi as a person, I think, is very unique. I think even if I hadn't fallen in love with him, I would find him very unique, like as a psych study type thing.
Yeah.
So
he's a case study.
Yes, it's a case study, exactly. So that's why I'm like, what can I pull from him and his attitude and personality and thoughts about life to put into this character?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Well, how rambly was I today? Whoops.
I think we were both a little rambly. It's okay.
Yay.
Is that not what this is for?
Yes, the purpose of this podcast is to give us a space to ramble where other people have to listen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
That's all we got. I think that's all we got. No, I think we just have follow us on social media, guys. We are at the Scripturient Society. As soon as this episode goes up, we should start getting on a normal schedule. I think we're going to be putting episodes out every Friday. So you guys can look for a new TSS episode every Friday. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram, please. If you guys liked this podcast, please give us 5 stars. Please rate us. It really helps. And it's nice to know that people are liking what we're doing. If you want to see us to do something else, or we've done something that's just really annoyed you, I just got my arm caught in my microphone, but go ahead and message us, comment. We want to hear from you. So we want to know what you like and you don't like, because this is not just a writing group for us by any means.
We can change. We can not psychopaths.
Change. That's right. We can change, and for you, we will consider changing.
Yes, Katherine is too far gone, but Karissa will change.
But Karissa will, and so will Ash.
Yes. We outnumber her. It'll work.
Yeah, it's still good. It's still 2 out of 3. So we care about what you guys think, and we care about what you guys enjoy, and what you get out of this podcast, because this is really a writers group. So on that note, also check out our Patreon. So I think we've decided that you guys can join our Patreon writers group without paying any money at all. We are going to make it tierless, which means TIER less, not.
And also you will never cry.
But also tierless, yeah, unless somebody writes some like really vividly emotional writing for you to read. But so that's just going to be posting fun writing prompts, asking writing quandaries, questions. You guys can support each other. We can all chat together about writing. And we just made that free to everybody, because I think that that's the way writing groups should be. I hate the idea of somebody feeling like they have to pay to have somebody interact with them or read their work. So
especially if you're just starting out and you're kind of testing the waters, seeing if you like it.
Absolutely. It's something that everybody should have access to. That said, there will be some other like more exclusive content that you can join the different tiers to have access to, like exclusive episodes, videos, Q&As, things like that. So basically whatever stuff you want access to, you can choose, but the writers group content, that will be available to everybody. And we'll be starting that very soon. So hopefully you guys will join us there, and it's not just us talking to each other like it is right now.
This is fun too, but let's grow.
Yeah, but you guys can message us on there too if there's something you either want to see on Patreon, on Instagram, or if there's something you want us to do or not do in this podcast. So there's the spiel, everybody.
Sounds good. You've got that down at this point.
The spiel,
the spiel of the social media spiel. Yeah,
thanks. Yeah. I already forgot our signing off line, so you're just gonna have to intro and sign us off. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, that's all we've got for you guys. So until next time, keep writing, and we'll see you on the next page.
Yay! Goodbye.
Bye.